optimism this year was this. The Pace Electronics car, you can see it's one of the most well-sponsored. There was a fire in the pit area, a brief flash fire. Driver Ed Pimp sitting in the cockpit calmly, and quickly they extinguish it, and Gary Lee is there now.
Indeed, Ed is standing here. He is okay. We can see the flames, so it was not alcohol. What was the problem?
Well, I'm not really sure, but I think there was some type of an oil fire in the back. It caught some of the electrical wiring on fire.
One quick assessment of the track at this speed.
Oh, the track felt great. My car felt good. We lost our brakes a little bit, but I felt pretty good out there. You know, competitive. I was running against some good guys, and looking forward to a long race, but just wasn't to be today.
We're about to go racing. Larry, back to you.
A graduate of Cornell, and Derek, I've always felt he has sort of the gait of a champion, Ed Pim. We're getting ready to go back to the green. Kevin Cogan did not pit under this yellow flag, nor did Rick Mears, nor, by the way, did Emerson Fittipaldi or Tom Sneva. And there they are, the first four. They're separated in the middle. There is Raul Boisel. The green flag is out. We have completed 41 laps.
An interesting strategy here with Cogan and Mears and Fittipaldi not choosing to pit, nor Sneva, the first four cars. So I think it'll be another 10 or 15 laps just till we see how this develops, because you know if another yellow comes, they've made the right decision. But if it doesn't come, Michael Andretti's looking very, very strong.
Well, you can go 75 laps or 75 miles about. That's pretty much the point you can go. As we told you earlier, no changes for tires are going to be necessary unless something is on routine. So these guys figure they can go to the 75-mile mark with pretty much ease. Now, we called the pit stops under the yellow flag at about lap number 35 routine because they were under those conditions. A yellow flag gives you an opportunity to come in and make whatever minor adjustments you want. And by the way, Michael Andretti is all the way back up to 5th place already, and he is coming on like a locomotive.
He is. He's actually running quicker than the four cars in front of him at the moment, which is interesting because he's got a full load of fuel. He's got probably 100 pounds more weight in that car at the moment, but he's got the fresh tire, so he is able to run faster than everybody else out there.
You can see that Kevin Cogan being challenged by Rick Mears. Here it comes. Here comes Rick Mears, the former Indianapolis champion and national champion, challenging the youngster. Kevin finished 14th a year ago in the point standings, and I'll tell you, Kevin really quickly shut the door on Rick Mears. He's running this like it's 10 laps to go.
Former teammates at Penske, no love lost, obviously. Kevin wants to protect that lead. He's worked hard to have it. Rick is the master tactician, though. Rick will wait to the right time.
He really will, Derek. And Kevin Cogan running that car number 7 with the 7-Eleven sponsorship. A couple years ago when Bobby Rahal had the sponsorship, the car was number 5, and it seemed to be a bit misleading, but it's very appropriate to have the car number 7, just like Kyle Petty's car in Winston Cup racing. There is Kevin Cogan getting down to the outside and then the inside of Rick.
That's quite a risky little move. Kevin had made his mind up. He was going to take the line, but Rick had hoped he'd back off slightly. Kevin slammed the door. Can be a risky move at these speeds.
Derek, what if you're Rick Mears? I've noticed that Rick is now dropped back by about a second and a half.
I think Rick is just playing things nice and cool at the moment. He doesn't need to rush. He knows he's got a superb crew for when he makes his pit stops. Penske regularly wins races in the pits anyway, so as long as Rick is in the position he's in now, he thinks he's safe.
And on the other side of the coin, what if you are Kevin Cogan? Do you fight to hold on to that lead at this point to hope for exactly this to happen, for Rick to drop back and leave you alone?
From Kevin's point of view, it's interesting. He wants to lead. It's a new team, a new car, a new sponsor to him. He likes to make the impression. But with the experience that he has, he needs to show that he's learned from the years he's been in IndyCars by playing it nice and cool.
At the start of this race, we showed you Tom Sneva and that tremendous rocket ship run on the first couple of laps. Now here comes Michael Andretti. Derek told you a few laps ago that Michael appears to be the fastest running car on the racetrack. He is moving in on that green machine right there. Tom Sneva, yellow flag is out once again. At this point, we do not know the reason. I see dust in turn 2, but that is a safety truck. The yellow flag is out around the speedway. We've got Roberto Moreno running slowly through turns 3 and 4, with no apparent incident anywhere else in the racetrack.
It is Moreno. Not a very good weekend here for the Gallus team. They came with so much optimism because they had the Honda V8, which nobody else had. They had a driver combination of Moreno and Jeff Brabham, who can run with the best of any of them. They've got extensive wind tunnel, a program that has improved their cars, but just not a very good weekend. Let's get down to Gary Lee.
Kevin Cogan is here in the pit area. The Patrick team goes to work changing 3 tires, topping off the fuel. A very routine stop under the yellow for Kevin Cogan. The car is down off the pneumatic jacks, and he is underway. Slow almost get sideways in the pit area.
Derek and Gary, I'm a little surprised that both of the Patrick cars came in at the same time, but they seem to be very well prepared, and I think they're running their own races, and there's no real team strategy here. We're both just trying to do the best we can.
They did a very good job. Emerson was a little bit over-exuberant when he dropped the clutch that time, because there's a little bit of turbo lag in these cars, and sometimes when the power comes in, the rear wheels just spin and the car gets away.
One of the features that we're very proud of on ESPN broadcasts of auto racing are trackbacks, and yes, they will be back in 1986. And with the first of those this year, here it is.
Last season, it was easy to differentiate between the March and the Lola. A glance at the front of the car would show off the rather large bulbous nose on the March, while the Lola had a more sleek, well-defined nose. But this year, they're very similar. But there is a way for the race fan to tell the difference. It's the back of the cockpit above the driver's head. The roll bar on the Lola is the standard loop, a configuration we've seen since the roll bar became mandatory in championship cars back in 1959. But the March has an all-new triangular-shaped roll bar. Maybe March knows something about the power of the pyramid.
As we look at the power of the pyramid of the March race car for 1986, the green flag is back out, and Rick Mears, did he make a pit stop that time? He did not. We are a quarter of the way through this race. Everyone else among the leaders has stopped. Rick Mears has not. He leads this race, and Michael Andretti is back up into the number 2 position, and they have a substantial lead, Derek, over the rest of the field.
It's an interesting strategy now by Penske, because there was a golden opportunity on that yellow to bring his man in. They must figure that there's going to be many yellows in this race to leave him out there.
Well, as we mentioned earlier, he can go about 25 more laps before he has to come in, unless they're doing something really magical with the fuel consumption. You know, another thing to think about, Derek, is that so many things can go wrong when you have a pit stop. So maybe it is good strategy to not increase the odds for something happening. Kevin Cogan in the blue and white number 7, there he is right in the middle, right in the heat of battle of a lot of other cars, and Cogan is not showing as much speed as we saw the first 50 laps of this race.
That's right. Traffic is going to be a problem now for Kevin, because the speeds are that little bit higher. He did hit Jose Lee the last time they get into traffic, so he has to be extra careful. So I don't see Kevin making any banzai or daring moves. I think he's just going to be nice and cool.
It was kind of interesting, Derek, that we saw as we were watching the car go around under the caution flag. There, by the way, is Jeff Brabham leading A.J. Foyt the ring in the back of the pack, although Foyt is still in the lead lap with the leaders. There was not a mark on Kevin Cogan's car. We expected to see something, either the tire or the wing or on the fuselage. Wasn't a mark, so he must have just barely touched Jose Lee, because it certainly did appear as though contact had been made.
He was very lucky he got away with that, because the days with these cars are so fast, they are quite fickle, and they do go out of alignment very easily if you do touch a car. So Kevin was lucky that he did get away with that.
He must have been putting his foot through the nose cone, standing on those brakes though, when Jose Lee was spinning in front of him, because Jose Lee was scoffing off 20, 30 miles per hour every 10th of a second, and Kevin was right behind him, and he did manage to avoid him. Meanwhile, back up front, as we continue to watch Cogan trying to climb out of the mire of heavy traffic. Once again, he's trying to get around Jeff Brabham. You go back up front to the leader, Rick Mears, and suddenly Mears and Michael Andretti are a tremendous ways ahead of the rest of the field. Rick Mears is actually coming around to lap everybody, and as a matter of fact, he is only a turn away from Kevin Cogan.
Rick all weekend has looked very good, but very smooth in this car. When a driver is fast and smooth, you always get the impression that he's totally in control. And you see him here quite easily use the outside groove and go outside 2 cars at a time.
Rick, there is Cogan. There is Cogan moving to the high side finally of Jeff Brabham, following Mario Andretti through, and there's a nice close-up shot of the car. The contact seemingly was made on the left front area, and as you can plainly see, not a mark visible there. There is Emerson Fittipaldi, his teammate, on the screen, and there is a very close-up look, stop action of the race car, and seemingly not a mark on the machine.
lucky to get away with it, because in such close quarters at high speed, you don't do that too often and be able to continue the race.
Derek, is it possible that with the drafting, when you get so close, when you get within micro inches, just the draft will put Jose out of control?
No, I think it was definitely the contact was made first. It broke Jose rear wing off, and that then put Jose out of control.
Well, during the last caution flag, we did have a driver taken to the track hospital. No serious problem, but Gary Lee has an update for us.
Yes, indeed. We have a very good report from the new trauma medical center here at Phoenix, where two drivers have been treated. One is about to be released. First of all, a bruised left knee on Jose Garza and a slight burn to the left small finger of Scott Brayton. Apparently there was a fire in the cockpit on Brayton's number 71 car. Only a slight burn. Now, of course, CART is very proud of their medical facilities, perhaps the best in all of the world of motorsports. This is the brand new mobile trauma center. They can handle virtually anything that would arise, minor or serious, on the racetrack. This is also the first release unit which can actually bring the driver back to this, back it up, and then transport the driver into this new portable unit. New safety features from CART for the PPG World Series.
Certainly the safest in the world of racing, and as Rick Mears back, you know, he ran an abbreviated schedule a year ago, and I don't think there is any question that Rick Mears is back, and back in a big way. Approaching the halfway point of this race, and the leader is Mr. Mears. First and second, there goes Michael Andretti. We have a new leader as we come back. Michael Andretti in the Craco blue and gold, blue and yellow, whatever you want to call it, goes underneath the bright yellow of Pennzoil, and Michael Andretti picks up where he left off about 10 laps into this race as the leader. They are approaching Jeff Brabham. I know it looks like Kevin Cogan, but it's not. Michael goes to the inside of Jeff, who has really struggled this week, and Rick Mears stays close.
Michael, because of that pit stop, has fresh tires in that car, so that's going to give him more grip in the corner. And when he came off turn 4, he was much faster than Rick to pull out and just get his nose in his.
Now remember that Rick has not stopped yet, exactly the point that Derek was making. Fuel is not a problem, except for Mr. Mears. If he goes about 8 or 9 more laps, he's going to have to stop. So the wick is getting shorter and shorter on the Penske team.
They now need a yellow to make this strategy that they pulled pay off. They must have a yellow in the next 9 or 10 laps.
Derek, another interesting bit of team strategy we saw unfold here on the front stretch just a few laps ago. Somebody is way high out of the groove in turn 1. I think it's Jeff Brabham. Just caught a quick glimpse of him. No wall contact. Everything is okay, and Jeff is back underway. Rick Mears was running right with Brabham, but he was not involved at all. Talking about that strategy is watching the leader, Michael Andretti. Michael Andretti is coming in. Got to be on schedule. Got to be on schedule, or are we expecting a yellow flag? Yellow flag. Yellow flag. So all the leaders are taking the opportunity. This played right directly into the hands of Roger Penske.
It's almost as if Penske knew exactly what was going to happen. Rick needed the yellow, just come. His tank has probably only got a couple of gallons left. He's going to have 4, maybe 3, maybe only 3 fresh tires. But certainly not perfect strategy for Mears.
Well, that was absolutely astounding. And by the way, as we watch the Rick Mears crew go to work, Jeff Brabham's car is spitting out a little more fire than I think that is normal, as he says in his pit area. He was the reason, we believe, for the yellow flag. I think there's a fire in Mears' car. Smoke coming from underneath the cowling of Rick Mears, and trouble in the Roger Penske Rick Mears pit. Gary Lee is there.
We are standing right here about 5 feet away from that flame. Once again, it was oil because we couldn't see the flame. Rick, the driver, was in no danger. They kept spraying water on it. Rick is still in the cockpit. They've changed 3 of the tires. Now Rick has unbuckled the harness system, and Rick Mears is climbing out. The car wears number 1, signifying a national championship won last year by Al Unser Sr. The steering wheel is popped off, and Rick Mears is climbing out as the crew continues to look at the back of the car and the origin of the fire.
Derek, somewhat reminiscent of Indianapolis a few years ago. Rick suffered serious burns in an incident exactly like that. So it looks like Rick Mears' chances for victory today are over. Michael Andretti continues to set the pace here. He has been up front all day long. Kevin Cogan still has a shot, but Michael Andretti is beginning to look like the man to beat. The green flag has just flown over the Phoenix International Raceway for one more time. The race is underway. They are showing Michael Andretti. He's in the middle of the pack right now as the leader with that man right there, the red, white, blue Domino's Pizza number 30-minute delivery. Hot one of Al Unser Jr. as running in second position. Danny Sullivan right behind him there is being shown 1 lap down. The pit stops have really shuffled the strategy here and really changed the standings. They are only showing 5 cars on the lead lap. Now have a spin in turn number 2. A.J. Foyt, for the second time in about the last 20 minutes, has had an incident. The number 14 Copenhagen Gilmore car of A.J. Foyt, who is said to be in the process of a shakedown run this weekend, is sitting silent and sideways.
I don't think, Larry, he was even on the track because he just made a pit stop. He drove straight out, and I think he lost it as he tried to rejoin the track going far too fast.
Rick Mears looked like he was headed for victory here this week at the Phoenix International Raceway. Everything was going well, and then a big plume of smoke going down the backstretch off of turn 4.
I love the way you race drivers talk, Rick Mears. You said, boy, I was just starting to have fun. What happened?
Well, I don't know. It was just getting fun, and we were kind of waiting till the next stop to make some chassis changes because the Pennzoil car was working fairly decent, and kind of wait till the end. But I don't know if an oil line's cracked or broke or what, but we got a little bit of an oil leak and started getting a little slippery, so we had to park it.
A lot of concern over the new racetrack, the new surface, and the high speeds. How's traffic out there?
The traffic's, it's a little tough because the cars are running quick and it makes the line a little bit finer, but, it wasn't really that big of a problem. Being the first race with the new cars, it's always a learning curve, and we just need to work a little harder to get the cars to work a little better in traffic.
A question about the one time out there it appeared that Kevin Kogan really slammed the door on you.
Well, that was his prerogative, I guess. He still had a wheel on me, and I was just kind of trying to make him a little nervous and let him use his tires up a little more, but we were just having fun.
Back on a full-time basis. Welcome back.
Thank you very much.
A very gracious comment about Kevin, and I guess that's what the essence of racing is all about. He thought it was a gentlemanly move.
That's right. Rick is a professional, so is Kevin. Rick almost expected what Kevin did. That's racing.
Well, look who's up front. The man who almost won the national title a year ago, Al Unser Jr., and right in front of him, well, like his stablemate, Michael Andretti. Data speed, kart timing, and scoring is now showing Al Unser Jr. as the leader. Michael Andretti second, Kevin Kogan third, Tom Sneva fourth, and Arie Luyendyk fifth. The only 5 cars, we repeat, suddenly the only 5 cars in the lead lap. What a job the Provimi Veal team apparently has done on Arie Luyendyk, getting him into and out of the pit area. But Derek, we did see this a couple of times a year ago.
That's right. This team is a nice, small, close-knit team, and they've played a very good strategy because on 3 yellows, they just kept him out to the last possible moment. He's now back out there full of fuel, fresh tires, and in 5th position.
Well, we gave you the first 5 unofficially. Here are the next 5. 1 lap down, Danny Sullivan, Mario Andretti, Emerson Fittipaldi, Jan Lammers, and Bobby Rahal. Michael Andretti, a man that a lot of people are looking toward this year as one of the potential big winners. He's never won an Indianapolis car race, but it might be just around the corner.
Over the winter, when I first heard that Barry was coming over and you guys were going to a 1-car team, I thought, wow, tremendous optimism for Michael. And then everybody started talking about it, and I thought, I wish so many people weren't saying he was the guy to beat.
Same here. I wish they wouldn't either because, it just makes it feel funny and could be a bad omen for you. But deep down inside, I feel like we are the team to beat. And I think, the team that we put together, this Craco team is going to be tough because of Barry and Adrian and being a 1-car team, doing our own motors. So we have a lot going for us, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, while we were away, as you saw, Michael took the lead very strongly. Al Unser Jr. sudden pit stop. Gary Lee is there.
We are indeed here. They're taking off the rear cowling of that car. Apparently, he called in on the radio and said the engine is missing. They're going to check the spark plugs. They're running over there right now with the brand new spark plugs and spark plug wires. They're taking all the spark plugs out. What a costly pit stop for Al Unser Jr. and the Domino Pizza Hot One.
Derek, it's filtering down very quickly. We are down to just 4 cars on the lead lap.
When you want to win some races, you have to have the luck of the draw to go with you. And the luck is with Andretti this weekend because no matter what he does, everybody around him, all his competition, are slowly making it easier for him. First, Rick fell out. Kevin had that little bit of trouble. Now Al Jr. is out. Everybody else is making it easier as the race goes on for Michael to win this race.
There's Michael. I'm going to tell you that Kevin has pulled off, for me, the most mysterious race. He, by the way, is running quickly again. But during the last green flag segment, it looked like he was mired back in the field. He couldn't move. He didn't look nearly as fast as he did earlier in the race, and now things seem to be back to normal.
He's running very, very strongly now. He's passing cars on the outside group quite regularly. His line, again, is very interesting off 4 because he's by far the highest car. seems to be on the move again.
Michael Andretti, in winter testing, he was down to 21.5 seconds on this racetrack. That's a little slower than he qualified. He qualified at 21.785, but as we've told you a couple of times, that he has been the superstar of testing here at Phoenix over the winter, and he likes this racetrack. Michael says he likes these tight corners, he likes racing in traffic, and he's really showing his form right now. There he is moving up to do some more lapping, and there is the second place car coming. Watch for Kevin coming by. Still not there, still not there. That's how much real estate there is between, and there finally is Kevin Kogan, about 5 or 6 seconds behind Michael Andretti, who has just put a lap on Roberto Guerrero.
I have to say I'm slightly worried about Kevin because he seems to be getting wider and wider on his exit at turn 4 each lap that goes by. Now, a driver can do this when he feels good and feels confident with his machine, but it's very, very easy to stick the outside wheels into the gray and get yourself into trouble. Kevin is running higher than every driver on the track at the moment, turn 4.
Well, we had hopes to give you some more in-car camera shots, but obviously with that picture right there, Al Unser Jr. sitting in the pit area, the camera is down. The Domino's Pizza people were very cooperative with us, and we were optimistic to be able to bring you some more pictures. Now we're getting some word, as you can see on your picture, Al Jr. may be coming back. So the helicopter has gone down because we were thought the school was out in regards to the in-car camera, but maybe we'll still have a shot at it.
Junior's day now turns into a test session because there's no way they can win the race after this being this far behind. But usually in situations like this, the crew will make some little changes on the car just to see under test conditions, under race conditions, how the car reacts. They can now learn information which will be good for them for the rest of the season.
Oh, look at that heavy, heavy freeway traffic going through turn number 1, and Michael Andretti is right in the middle of it, but gets through without any incident. By the way, we were told that they changed all the spark plugs, all the spark plug wires on the Al Unser Jr. machine to try and find out where the spark is.
Michael seems to make very good headway through this traffic, which is bad for Kevin Kogan because it leaves Kevin all the work to do and Michael not being slowed down very much. But Michael seems to be well able to get through this traffic quite easily.
Remember the early part of this race, we talked about the great start, the rocket ship start that Tom Sneva had. Well, where is Tom Sneva? Yes, he is still in it. There he is. He is running in 3rd position, being shown 8 seconds behind the leader. Tom Sneva is one of the winningest drivers of all time here at the Phoenix International Raceway. Tom Sneva is in a class with Mario Andretti, Johnny Rutherford, Gordy Johncock, and Al Unser Sr. when it comes to the people who have won the most times here. He has won 4 times, and he may be running the race that he wants.
You could never, ever count the gas man out because Sneva is usually the man who can pull off from the last pit stop on to the end of the race. He's always the one that has just that little bit extra to pull out, and he's running stronger here in the race than he did at any time during practice or qualifying.
Now, many of you who are race fans probably have heard of all the chicanery and all the conversation going on about Tom Sneva and Ed Pym and jumping rides, and whether or not Gurney is involved, whether or not Mike Curb Records are involved. This is the Chuck Gurney, he's a sprint car racer, the Dan Gurney Mike Curb team. So Tom Sneva has landed back with them. It is a March. It is not an Eagle at this point. Dan Gurney is here also with an Eagle with Jan Lammers driving.
Here with Michael. He's now at the head of that traffic queue that was there. Kevin Kogan has to get through it. So Michael has a nice clear road ahead of him now, can now pull out, and Kevin has 1, 2, 3, 4 cars ahead of him before he can see the back of Michael's car.
And I'd like to say that Michael worked really hard to get that done, but he did it so easily, Derek. It's like it wasn't even hard work. But I can assure you that it's going to be difficult work for Kevin Kogan because Kevin sees Michael disappearing in the distance. Michael Andretti moving up on Al Unser Jr. right now. You can see heavy traffic there in the front stretch, but he continues to set the pace here at Phoenix.
If you need life insurance protection, a good chunk of it.
No, that is not the way they build new race cars, even if they're Penske cars. It's not a March and it's not a Lola, but we are caution flagged because of that incident involving Al Unser Sr., the defending national champion. You can see that he is in pretty good shape. We are just a little bit past the halfway point of today's IndyCar race. At 100 laps, the average speed was a slow 109.5 miles per hour. There had been 5 leaders, 8 lead changes. Michael Andretti, seemingly the fastest man right now. 7 caution flags, nothing major for a grand total of 35 laps. That is what has brought down the average speed. The top 5, Tom Steva finds himself right now inheriting that position, number 1. Michael Andretti is 2nd, Kevin Kogan 3rd, the only 3 on the lead lap. Mario Andretti has recovered back to 4th, and Danny Sullivan is now running 5th. Pit stops have really shuffled the deck here at Phoenix International. Can anybody else recover? Right now, only 3, Sneva, Michael, and Kogan, are on the lead lap. Michael Andretti, as you can see, graphically and visually, continues to set the pace here. Kevin Kogan, the only other car on the lead lap. Neither one of these drivers has ever won an Indianapolis car type race. 158 of 200 laps are completed. They are now each 2 laps ahead of 3rd place running Tom Sneva. I should correct myself. Michael is 2 laps ahead of Tom. Kevin is not yet 2 laps ahead of Tom, but the 2 of them are without question, beyond a shadow of any doubt, and any other superlatives we can come up with, the class of this field.
That's right. Michael does have to stop, however. He cannot go the distance because he doesn't have enough fuel. Sneva can. Sneva is 2 laps down, but he could easily make that up if Michael doesn't have a very crisp and clean pit stop.
159 laps are now complete, and the Craco crew continues poised. You know, there is a red light in these cars that indicates when you're critically low on fuel. You got to believe, certainly it has not come on in Michael's car, but he must be stretching it, Derek.
His crew are already down here, as they usually remain ready just in case there's any unscheduled pit stop. But it doesn't look as if Michael's ready to make a stop for another couple of laps yet.
It certainly doesn't. As we are talking, Randy Lanier is coming into the pit area. There's R.A. Lyondike in the number 61 car on the inside. He's running in the top 10, but at least 3 laps behind. Now, Tom Steva, we've talked about him a couple of times today, continues to run competitively. Look at Tom getting into a traffic jam behind Randy Lanier. Mario Andretti is pulling away from the trouble. There's Sneva in the green car. Danny Sullivan hard on the binders going into turn number 4, trying to stay out of trouble. He just gets by. That's Raul Poisel also moving through, and Michael Andretti is smoking. It looks like the Craco car is out of it, Derek.
It's hard to believe that so many times last year this Craco team and Michael have led races, looks comfortable, looks strong. Let's go down to Gary Lee, who's down there.
We have him down here, and in fact, they stretched it about as far as they could go, but he's very, very happy with the setup of the chassis. He has killed the engine in the Craco number 18, the lean machine. They're taking the bonnet off, a lot of smoke. Oh, what a disappointment for the young Michael Andretti, appearing to be on his way to his first ever championship car victory after starting in the front row. We can see the anguish on the faces of the crew members as the bonnet comes over. They slam down tires, some other tools. It's a short day for Michael Andretti. The lean machine is finished. They slam down a fire extinguisher. The crew members disgruntled as they walk away, climbing back over the inside Armco. Michael unbuckling, about to climb out, and hopefully we can have a word with this young man who started right next to his dad in the front row. The first time ever a father and son have started side by side in the front row of a championship car event. You can see the disappointment, even with the helmet on, as he pulls off the tether, walks over to Barry Green. Oh, so much promise for this team that was reorganized over the winter. Brought in Barry Green as the crew chief, and there is Michael Andretti pulling the helmet off. They're going to try to get to him as he's talking with the team manager, Barry Green. Michael, it is always difficult to talk to a driver at this time. My golly, what happened?
I don't know, something in the motor broke.
Obviously, everything up until that point was very much your way. The chassis was fine. The engine was working.
Everything was perfect. It was, I think I had it in the bag. I really do, because the car was working so well, and all day I never missed a beat.
How long will it take you to go to sleep tonight after you stop talking to yourself about this?
Well, not too much you can do. Is just hope that we can do better at Long Beach.
What a bitter disappointment for the young man who started side by side with his dad in the front row, Michael Andretti.
Interesting how fresh Michael looks after getting out, after doing 150 laps or whatever. He was in physically good shape. That's another sign that a car handles well when a driver doesn't have to put in a huge physical effort to drag it around the circuit.
Derek, there are only 2 drivers, in my opinion, who have deserved to win this race today. One of them just dropped out, and and the other one is that guy right there, Kevin Kogan. Now the question remains, can he hold on? He has a 2-lap lead as he goes to the high side of Mario Andretti, putting Mario Andretti 4 laps down in this race. Can Kogan's car go the distance? We have completed 168 laps. And by the way, another thing, that first win for Michael Andretti and Kevin Kogan, I am convinced now more than ever, whoever gets it today, the other one's going to get one real soon.
Michael Andretti needs a little bit of luck. Kevin Kogan is also another man who needs lady luck on his side. He's been quick since he came out of the box here on the first day of practice. Kogan looks as if he may just have the legs on the rest of the field from here on in.
Kevin Kogan is now sitting in a position where he cannot coast, but he truly can pace himself and take his time. All of the other pretenders to the throne, at least for today, have now dropped by the wayside. The race belongs to Kevin Kogan, and whether or not that mechanical equipment, that machinery, can go the distance. Probably one more pit stop, but he has a tremendous cushion, and Kevin Kogan may be en route for one. This race with a 2-lap cushion, as we told you just before the last commercial, is in for the pits. This becomes uncommonly routine, Derek.
No tire change. They're happy with the setup. That's a very, very good sign. Just fill him up with fuel, let him go. Looking good for Kogan.
Only 25 laps to go to the end. A rabbit quick pit stop, less than 20 seconds. He didn't need to be that fast. They could have spent 40 seconds, and he still would have come out on the lead. Now a tricky part. There's some dirt on the racetrack down there. You got to be careful. We saw A.J. Foyt miscue there earlier today, getting out on the racetrack, move up onto the track very slowly, and blend into traffic.
Sneva made up one of his laps because Kogan came onto the backstraight just in front of Sneva. So Sneva's now just 1 lap behind.
Tom Sneva running in second position. Danny Sullivan is third. Emerson Fittipaldi is fourth. And Mario Andretti, leading the first few laps of this race, having to pit stop most prematurely, is in fifth position. Ari Leyendijk is sixth. Johnny Rutherford is seventh. The car number 2 of Roberto Guerrero is 8th. Jan Lammers is 9th. And Raul Boesel is in 10th position. And by the way, about Raul, there's been a lot of talk about is it Boesel or Boesel. Raul told me, it's recently, it's Boesel.
Okay, let's stick with Boesel.
So Kevin Kogan, when he first came to IndyCar racing at the urging of Parnelli Jones, came with the Jerry O'Connell team. He surprised everybody by finishing into the top 4 his first 2 races at Indianapolis and Milwaukee. I think he had 4th at Indy and like 2nd in Milwaukee. Looked a little bit like Surfer Joe in those days, but now the style and the carriage of Kevin has become one of the trademarks of IndyCar racing in general, and he blends right in. A nice-looking young man who always seems to have time for the press. He's got that kind of arrogance about him that blends in nicely with being a big-time race driver. There's the gas man, Tom Sneva. What do you think, Derek? Definitely out of it?
I would never, ever say that Sneva's definitely out of it at a place like Phoenix, because the slightest misfire from Kogan and Sneva will pounce and gobble him up. So I would never, ever say that Sneva's out of it.
Well, this is a racetrack which hosts the Copper Classic every February, a race whose headliner is the Super Modifieds, from whence Tom Sneva came. And one of the most successful Super Modified drivers of all time. You can see he was a 2-time IndyCar champion. Sneva used to live up in the state of Washington, Sprague, Wisconsin, or Washington to be exact, and now he has moved down here to the Phoenix area. He lives in Paradise Valley, nearby Paradise Valley.
He demanded that he drive a March this year instead of the Eagle, and he was slightly worried that he wasn't going to get it sorted out before this race started. But as we said earlier on, he was the fastest man on full tanks in the final practice session on Saturday, and here he is running a very comfortable second.
Derek, 18 laps to go. You've never won an Indianapolis car race before. Put yourself in Kevin Kogan's shoes. Are you trying to avoid thinking about it, giving attention to the task at hand?
I think so. The good thing about a racetrack like Phoenix is the driver's so busy all the time. You don't have a lot of time down the straights to think about what's going on because you're busy the whole time. And at the type of speeds they're running, Kevin will have to maintain a very high level of concentration, which in turn stops his mind beginning to wander a little bit.
Kevin Kogan, as the sound sands in the hourglass become thinner and thinner and thinner. We are in inside the 20 lap to go mark, and Kevin Cogan appears to be destined for career win number 1 in IndyCar racing. Kevin Cogan, who has moved over to this team for 1986. This is his first ride ever for the Pat Patrick Racing stable. They got to be very pleased and very satisfied and think they must have made a very good choice if he can hold on to this. Now less than 10 laps to go. There you see it, 8 laps to go. It's Cogan, Sneva, laps down, Sullivan, Fittipaldi, 5th, Mario Andretti. Still on the racetrack, running in 6th, Ari Lyondike, 7th, Johnny Rutherford, 8th, Roberto Guerrero, 9th, Jan Lammers, 10th, Raul Pazell, 11th, Jeff Brabham, 12th, Randy Lanier, and 13th, Al Unser Jr. Remember, we pay back 12 positions in terms of points, so young junior Unser Jr., who missed the points championship last year by a single marker, right now is not going to earn any today, Derek.
Right, and Kevin is just about to pull out and pass Junior here. It doesn't really make much difference for Junior. He can just happily move over and let him go. Kevin certainly will not take any chances at this stage. Sneva still dropping back slowly, which means that Kevin is becoming safer and safer as the laps come down.
What a moment in the career of a professional racing driver, particularly an American professional racing driver. That moment when you win your first ever Indianapolis car type race in your career. No matter how bold or brave or how much bravado you exude, gotta be some tears in your eyes.
That's right. Particularly, Kevin has had some very hard, rocky roads that he's come across, particularly the one at Pocono where he damaged his feet so badly 2 years ago. However, right from the top of the show, we interviewed him and he said this could be his year to stand on the victory circle.
Right now, he's got to be taking some gases. He's caught between Jeff Brabham and Al Unser Jr. I'm sure he would like to get away from both of these guys. He really labored getting underneath Al Unser Jr., and now he's doing the same on Jeff Brabham. There is Tom Sneva, and Sneva is being caught by Emerson Fittipaldi.
Emerson's been a little bit of a sleeper all afternoon. He's been just able to save himself on a couple of times. He made pit stops at the right time, and now he's about to challenge Sneva here for a second.
They are both 1 lap down. That is the contest for second place. Emerson Fittipaldi going to the inside, but not quite enough room.
I would say Emerson is going to have a very, very hard time trying to get past our gas man here.
Mario Andretti is also 1 lap down. He's in 5th position. Correction, make that 4th position, but not close enough to challenge these two. This is it. This is the runner-up spot here at PIR today.
Sneva will definitely close the door every time on Emerson. He's going to make Emerson take a chance if he wants that position. I don't think Emerson will take that chance, but he's not that type of driver.
Hogan moving through turns 3, turns 4. This time by, it will be lap number 198. 2 miles to go. Kevin Cogan has never won an Indianapolis car race. You can see the excitement beginning to grow, beginning to build in the pit area. It is not over yet. 2 to go. The white flag came up. Only 1 lap to go. Correction on that. The white flag is out. Kevin Cogan looks like he's going to do it, Derek. There's going to be a big cheer from the pit area. The Pat Patrick pit. It's the first one off of turn number 4. Here comes Kevin Cogan. That is turn number 4. He has done it. Kevin Cogan, a winner for the first time ever. Here comes second place. Fittipaldi goes to the inside of Sneva. They're wheel to wheel across the finish line. And Sneva 1 lap down holds off Fittipaldi for 3rd. 4th place is going to go, we believe, to Mario Andretti. Now we're getting report that Mario has slowed and that Denny Sullivan will earn the 4th position. But there is the story of the race.
What a day for Kevin. It had to come. He always showed the promise. There he waves to the crowd, delighted. The shivers go down his back. I know exactly the feeling. A man who's had so many rocky roads. Now he's in victory lane.
Kevin Cogan has to be an elated winner. As he takes this cool-off lap, he must be thinking about all those rocky moments, all those rocky roads that have led to this moment. Kevin Cogan, at long last, is a winner. There is is no happier winner than a first-time winner, and Gary Lee is going to share that with us right now.
Kevin, it has been a rocky road in the championship cars, but I assume it's all been worth it now.
And the rocky road is over.
You showed great promise. You came to a brand new team, and it all came together so rapidly.
I tell you, this team, it's made all the difference in the world. This is the best team you could ever hope for. And that's what it's all about.
You had a great battle for a while with another young driver looking for his first win in Michael Andretti. It was not meant to be for him. It would have been a great shootout had he stayed in.
Yeah. Don't say who, but I think he was taking up a lot more racetrack than was necessary.
We were concerned.
We were having a good race up until that point. I think we could have continued because I was going the same lap as time as he was.
This is Bedlam down here. Our congratulations. We'll look for you at Long Beach.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, sure.
Not only is it a win for Kevin Cogan, but his new chief mechanic, Larry Curry, who took Jacques Villeneuve to a couple of wins last year, or at least one win last year, a man whom I have a lot of confidence in. This winner's circle has been brought to you by Goodyear Eagles. You either have Goodyear Eagles or you need them. We'll be back with more from the Phoenix International Raceway after this, where we had just seen Kevin Cogan for the very first time in his young career win an Indianapolis car race. No happier winner than a first-time winner, and Gary Lee is going to share that with us right now.
Kevin, it has been a rocky road in the championship cars, but I assume it's all been worth it now.
And the rocky road is over.
You showed great promise. You came to a brand new team, and it all came together so rapidly.
I tell you, this team, it's made all the difference in the world. This is the best team you could ever hope for. And that's what it's all about.
You had a great battle for a while with another young driver looking for his first win in Michael Andretti. It was not meant to be for him. It would have been a great shootout had he stayed in.
Yeah, I think it would have. We had a hell of a race going, and I got behind a slow car. I don't say who, but I think he was taking up a lot more racetrack than was necessary.
We were concerned.
We were having a good race up until that point. I think we could have continued because I was going the same lap as time as he was.
This is Bedlam down here. Our congratulations. We'll look for you at Long Beach.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, sure.
Not only is it a win for Kevin Cogan, but his new chief mechanic, Larry Curry, who took Jacques Villeneuve to a couple of wins last year, or at least one win last year, a man whom I have a lot of confidence in. This winner's circle has been brought to you by Goodyear Eagles. You either have Goodyear Eagles or you need them. We'll be back with more from the Phoenix International Raceway after this, where we had just seen Kevin Cogan for the very first time in his young career win an Indianapolis car race. 200 laps on a 1-mile racetrack means 200 miles. The average speed was a slowed 120 miles an hour. There were 6 different leaders, 10 lead changes, 7 caution flags, all minor incidents, for a total of 38 laps. Kevin Cogan, for the first time ever in his career, a winner. Tom Sneva is second, laps behind, or at least 1 lap. Emerson Fittipaldi, Kevin's teammate, third. Danny Sullivan, last year's Indy winner, fourth. And Johnny Rutherford, Lone Star JR, a pretty consistent run to get 5th position. 6th through 10th, Ari Leyendyke, Mario Andretti, Roberto Guerrero, Jan Lammers, and Jeff Brabham. And Derek Daly, he may have been lucky.
I think he was very, very lucky. I'm delighted to see him win, but we mustn't forget one of those yellows was caused when Kevin crashed with Jose Ligarza. How easy and how close things can be played at times.
Well, there are a couple of IndyCar races before the next ESPN coverage of the IndyCar series, but we will be back with you in Milwaukee. Today's Kart Dana 200 for the Special Olympics has been brought to you by Goodyear Eagles. You either have Goodyear Eagles or you need them. And by Busch Beer, the beer with a taste as smooth as its name. So Kevin Cogan has done it. Michael Andretti looked like he was headed for victory, but the gods just didn't smile on him. Of course, we'll be with you for a complete season of auto racing coverage, not only Formula One, but also the stock cars in the South, as well as Indy cars. Every Thursday night, most weeks, Speed Week. Highlights from the world of racing with Bob Jenkins and yourself, and myself, Larry Nuber. So until the next time, be it in the Deep South, the stock cars, on the Formula One circuit, maybe on the IMSA trail, or right back here at the Indy cars, for Gary Lee, Derek Daly, this is Larry Nuber saying so long, everyone.